Okay, so the next one is going to be application problems with a linear function, finding the coordinate given 2 points. This might be the hardest one in your section, okay? So I'll try to take my time, really make sure I explain it as well as I can without wasting your time. Okay, so what you're going to have here is a situation, okay, let's read it real quick. We get the monthly cost in dollars of a long distance phone plan is a linear function of the total time called in minutes. Okay, the monthly cost is 30 minutes. The calls is $12.06, right? So the monthly cost for 64 minutes is $58.80. So, or I'm sorry, $15.80. So what is the monthly cost for 63 minutes? Okay, so there's some things we got to pull from here. If you look at the graph, right, we have an x values in minutes, we have a y values in dollars. So they give us 2 points. You may not notice that there's 2 points, but there is. The minutes, here's an x value, here's a y value. That's 1 point. Here's another point, an x value and a y value. You double check your axes and make sure you have your x and your y straight, okay? And then what I'm going to try to find is the 63, but we'll worry about that in a sec, okay? The first thing I want to do is find an equation for this line. Because if I find an equation for this line, then I can find any value that I want. So that's what I'm going to do first. If I have an xy, let's just simplify it. Let's write it in regular math terms, right? We got 30, 12, 06. And we got 64, we got 1580. Okay, so when you're finding an equation for a linear function, just y equals mx plus b. It's the easiest way to do it. Y equals mx plus b, right? Well, I don't know about the b, not yet, but I know I can find the m between 2 points, right? Let me remind you that the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so let's label them. I like to label them before I get moving. Let's call this x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so now let's just plug and check, okay? So 15.80, that's my y2 minus my y1, which is 12.06. Okay, divided by my x2, which is 64, minus my x1, which is 30. Save yourself some time. Punch it in the calculator. Get yourself a decimal for me, okay? So I'm going to do that right now. I got 15.8 minus 12.06, okay, divided by 64 minus 30. If you're doing it in the calculator, make sure you use parentheses on the bottom if you're going to divide it all together. Okay, so it gives me 0.11. That's my slope. Okay, that's my slope. And doesn't that make sense? Because this slope is going uphill, right? It's going uphill. I'm expecting it to be positive. If it was negative, I did something wrong. But I got 0.11 as my slope. All right, we're getting there. We're getting somewhere. So if I have my y equals mx plus b, well, my m is now 0.11 x plus b. Now the next thing I want to focus on is trying to find the solution to this b. I shouldn't have used green there. It looks funny. Here, let me undo. I don't like it. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm going to try to find an x and a y that I work. Well, I need an x and a y. I have x and y's. Here's an x. Here's a y. Sure, those will work. Why not? So let's plug those in. So here we go. If we plug those values in, my y value, 12.06 equals 0.11 times my x value, which is 30, plus my b. All right, well, now I could solve for my b. Punch it in your calculator. You got 0.11 times 30. That's going to give you 3.3 plus your b value. Okay, you got 12.06 over here. Subtract your 3.3 to the other side, minus 3.3 minus 3.3. It's going to give me b is equal to, let's see, 12.06 minus 3.3. I get 8.76. That doesn't sound so bad. Okay, so that's my initial amount. I got my slope. I have my equation now, right? So the hard part is done. All right, we're almost there. We're on the home stretch. So y equals my slope, which is 0.11. I found that earlier. X plus my b value. All right, and now I have an equation that represents that line. So now I can find any point you want. Well, this problem wants me to find, it wants me to find this, 63 minutes. Right there. That's what it wants me to find. Well, is that an x value or a y value? Right here, it says minutes is an x value. So I'm going to plug that into my equation for the x variable. So I have y equals 0.11 times 63 plus 8.76. I'm going to work that in my calculator real quick. So I get 0.11 times 63, okay, plus 8.76. I get 15.69. Hey, that's not so bad. You can do this. This is the hardest one in there, and we just did it in less than 6 minutes. So take your time, double check your work. It's much easier to do it right 3 times in a row than it is to do it once, miss it once, do it twice, miss it once. Take your time, check your work, see if that value makes sense. And I think it does. Okay, good deal. All right, well, I hope that helps, and good luck.